incredible city with so much to do and see. I've been living here for almost 2 years now and I still feel like I'm constantly discovering new things to do and see here. I already created a one-day London itinerary that allows you to see as many of the tourist destinations in one jam-packed day if you don't have a ton of time to spend here, or even if you just have a long layover. I also have a 3-day itinerary that will allow you to see all of the main tourist attractions in central London. So basically this 5-day itinerary is an extension of that 3-day itinerary, so you can make sure you see all of the main tourist sites, of course, but also some other amazing gems London has to offer. So let's start by pulling up my Google map I created for London. Anyone who watches my channel knows I am a very visual person. I love to create Google Maps when I travel, so if you're the same way, check out this video on how to create your own Google Maps for your travels. I've separated each day by color. We'll do day 1 as green, day 2 as orange, day 3 as red, day 4 as black, and day 5 as purple. Like I mentioned before, my London 3-day itinerary, which is linked here, goes in depth of days 1 through 3, so the green, orange, and red pins. So I will touch on all of the highlights in this video, of course, but if you want a step-by-step guide on those days to know more about each of these things in depth, make sure to watch that video. So day 1, you're starting in Westminster, where you'll see Big Ben and the Palace of Westminster, which is the Parliament building. Pro tip, on Great George Street, there is a series of red telephone booths that are the perfect photo opportunity of you in the booth with Big Ben behind you. Once you get that perfect shot, head across the road to Westminster Abbey, which has been the location of all the royal coronations of English and British monarchs since 1066. From here, you're walking through the stunning St. James's Park to get to Buckingham Palace. Once you're done admiring the palace, you'll walk along the Mall Crossing, which is a beautiful tree-lined street, and end at Trafalgar Square. From here, you'll keep walking along the Strand until you get to Jubilee Market and Covent Garden, which is personally one of my favorite areas in London. Then you'll walk down to the river and cross it using either the Waterloo or the Golden Jubilee Bridge to get to the London Eye. I personally wouldn't recommend spending the £26 to actually go up there because I think that's crazy expensive, but if you want to, now would be the time. Now moving on to day 2, which are the orange pins. We'll start the day by grabbing breakfast at Spitalfields Market, which opens at 8 a.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. on the weekends. Then right down the street, you can head to Brick Lane, which is a cool hipster street and home to the famous Brick Lane Bagel Shop, where you can try the salted beef bagel for £6.50. It's insanely good. I highly recommend it. Next, you'll make your way to Sky Garden, but make sure to walk through Leadenhall Market on your way there, which is a nice photo spot and a Harry Potter filming location. Once you get to Sky Garden, you show them your ticket and head up. Tickets are free, but you do need to reserve them 3 weeks in advance. Once you're done, you'll head to Tower of London and then walk across Tower Bridge. Now it's time to head to Borough Market for lunch. Make sure to grab a sandwich from the famous Black Pig stall. They are so good. From here, you can walk along the river to the Tate Modern Museum, which is free to enter. Then walk along the Millennium Bridge to end your day at St. Paul's Cathedral. Now let's move on to day 3, which are the red pins. We'll start the day at Kensington Palace, which is the official residence of Princess Kate and Prince William. Then continue walking through the park until you get to the Italian Gardens, which are absolutely stunning. From here, you can continue to walk through Hyde Park or just hop on a bus or the tube to Mercado Mayfair, which is genuinely the most beautiful food hall I've ever been to in my entire life. It's inside an old church, so there are columns and beautiful stained glass, plus a nice rooftop garden with tables. The next part of the day, you're just walking and exploring the streets of central London, maybe popping into some shops or just snapping some photos of the beautiful buildings. You'll start at Bond Street, then make your way to Regent Street, on to Carnaby Street, and finally pop into Liberty London, which is just a beautiful shop and a great photo op. Next, you'll walk up to Oxford Street to do some shopping. This is the main shopping street in London, so walk up and down the street. I'm sure you'll find any store that you're looking for. Once you've had enough of shopping, you'll head to the British Museum, which is completely free and you do not need to book any tickets in advance. You can simply just walk in. Once you're done here, or if going to the museum doesn't really interest you, you'll continue to walk down until you get to Neal's Yard, which is just this cute, colorful hidden gem. Not really much to do there, but I do think it's worth stopping just to get some photos. Then right across the street is a Seven Dials Market where you can grab some dinner or even just a dessert if you're not that hungry. From here, you'll head to Leicester Square, which is one of London's best known public squares and a hub for entertainment. And then you'll end your day at Piccadilly Circus, which is an icon of modern day London with its large display display signs, and a fountain in the middle of this road junction. On day 4, we have the black pin. So this is the first day that's not included in the other video, so I'll be going more in depth about everything. You'll start the day at Notting Hill, which is such a charming area. You'll start on Lancaster Road, which is the famous street with all of the colorful houses, and then you'll make your way down Portobello Road Market. This street is filled with tons of stalls to look at, so take your time browsing through them all. If you've ever watched the movie Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant, you can stop off at the Notting Hill bookshop, which is featured in the movie, and they have lots of souvenirs revolving around the movie as well. Notting Hill is personally one of my favorite areas just to walk around, so take your time just strolling around, popping into some bakeries, soaking in all the charm that the area has to offer. Once you're done with this area, you'll head to the Paddington Station. If you are a Paddington Bear fan, you can head inside and take a photo at the photo wall with Paddington Bear. If not, you can head to the back side of the station where there are a few boats on the river that are permanent restaurants or bars. I've tagged it here on the map as the Cheese Barge, which is a boat where you can get nice cheese plates and drinks, but there are a few along the river, so just walk along the river and see which one interests you the most, but it is a really cool vibe and something different to do in London. From here, you'll follow the canal for a few minutes until you get to Little Venice. This is where you'll see a few canals that meet. It's a gorgeous little area where you can either just admire the views or you can even hop on a boat tour if you want to. From here, you'll follow the river along all the way through Regent Park to Camden Market. The total walk will take about 40 minutes and it's so gorgeous. It feels like a nice nature escape right in the heart of the city. If you are a Beatles fan, you can take a slight detour off the canal right before you get to Regent's Park and head up to Abbey Road. There's really nothing to see here except if you want to get that iconic photo of you walking across the street like the Beatles album cover. So either snap your photo and then head back to the canal walk, or of course continue on if you never wanted to go to Abbey Road or that doesn't interest you. You'll take one more detour before you actually end the walk at Camden Market, and that will be at Primrose Hill. It's a gorgeous park on top of a hill that has a really nice view of the London skyline. It's also a really cute area, so just feel free to extend the detour by walking along the high road, popping into some shops there, and then eventually your canal walk will end at Camden Market, which is an unbelievable market for both food and shopping. I've tried about 6 different food stalls here and all of them have been amazing. I still really want to try the Yorkshire burrito stall, which is essentially everything from a Sunday roast rolled into this burrito, but the burrito is not a tortilla, it's actually a Yorkshire pudding. But the line has always been insane every time I've gone, so let me know in the comments if you have tried this spot and if it's worth the wait. Now, you have 2 different options for ending the day depending on what interests you the most. If it's a nice sunny clear day, I'd encourage you to head up to Hampstead Heath, which is a really nice park, grab a bottle of wine, some picnic food, or grab and go type food. You know, just sit down on the hill and watch a nice sunset while you relax and eat. If the weather isn't great or this doesn't interest you, I'd head down to King's Cross Station. It's a gorgeous building to admire from the outside, and if you're a Harry Potter fan, you can snap a photo of yourself at platform 9 3/4. If you have more than 5 days in the UK, this is where I'd encourage you to hop directly on a train to Edinburgh, which will take about 4 hours and is such a stunning city. I highly recommend it if you have 2 days to spare or so. It's so gorgeous. If not, let's dive into your final day, day 5, which are the purple pins. So before I dive into the pins, let me just say that this is definitely the chillest day on the itinerary with not a ton to do. And if it were up to me personally, I would do a day trip on this 5th day so you can see something outside of London now that you've pretty much seen all of the major tourist sites in London. I have this video of the 8 best day trips out of London by train, so take a look at that and see which day trip interests you the most. But I do really hate when you're looking up itineraries for a specific city and people put things on it that are outside of the city on there. It just irritates me. So I'm going to give you a 5th day in London itinerary, but just know that I really do think it would be better to get outside of the city for the day and see something else if you have the time. With that being said, if you'd prefer to stay in London, you basically have 4 options of areas you can see depending on what interests you. Option 1 is for the museum lover. You'll head to South Kensington where there are 3 world-class museums right next to one another: the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, and the Victoria and Albert Museum. All 3 of these museums are free, so see them all, or just pick one that interests you the most. Once you're all museumed out, you can head over to Harrods, which is London's world-famous department store. If you like to shop, now's your chance. If not, just walk around and head to the food court to try their famous roast chicken and truffle mac and cheese sandwich. From here, you can walk by the Royal Albert Hall to snap a photo of the beautiful building, and then you can end your day either with afternoon tea at the Candela Tea Room, which is one of the more affordable high tea options, not that any are really affordable, or grab a pint at the famous Churchill Arms, which is nicknamed as the most beautiful pub in London, especially at Christmas time. Option 2 is for the market lover. You can start your day off at the Columbia Road Flower Market, stroll along and see all the vendors there even if you don't want to buy any flowers. Eventually you will get to Broadway Market where you can continue to browse and walk around. If you're there on a Sunday, you can also pop over to the London Field Sunday Market. When you're done strolling through all of these different markets, you can have a nice walk through Victoria Park, which also has a food market on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Option 3 is for someone who just wants to explore a new area. I'd buy a round-trip boat ticket from Westminster Pier to Greenwich, so you'll enjoy a nice boat cruise from the city centre all the way out to Greenwich, seeing all of the main sites that you've already seen in central London, but from a different perspective. Once you get to Greenwich, you can walk through the Greenwich Market and admire all of the stalls there. When you're hungry, you can pop over to the famous Goddard's at Greenwich for a pie and mash plate for less than £6, which is such a steal, and it's so delicious. Especially if you haven't tried a pie on your trip to England, you can't miss out on one of the nation's iconic dishes. Then you can take a nice stroll through Greenwich Park, which offers beautiful views of London's skyline. If you want to pay to go into the Royal Observatory inside of the park, you can stand on the Prime Meridian line and be in 2 hemispheres at once. It is a bit pricey though, at £24 per person, which is why we haven't done that, because our ticket in Ecuador to stand in the center of the world, so along the Prime Meridian and equator, was only a few bucks. So it seems like a ripoff to pay that much just for the Prime Meridian, in my opinion. But if you haven't been on the Prime Meridian or equator before, it could definitely be worth it to you. And option 4 is one of my favorite areas in London, Richmond, which is in the southwest part of London, filled with amazing parks, a nice river walk, and some Ted Lasso filming locations if you are a fan. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I do have an ultimate guide to Richmond video coming soon that you won't want to miss. It will help you plan the perfect day in this area if you do decide to go this route. Now let's take a look at the best day trips outside of London if you have more time to spare in the UK or decide to make day 5 into a day trip.